Hey y'all, hope you all had a Merry Christmas. My name is David, welcome to week 33 of 52 churches in 52 weeks. If you're new here, a strange quirk about this channel is we attend a new church each week for a full year. So if you want to support the channel, I always appreciate those who like and subscribe. You can also check out Instagram for all kinds of information there. And it's never a substitute for scripture, but if you want to read what happened in the first 52 churches in 52 weeks, it's on Amazon. I'll put all the info below. So when this video gets posted, it's going to be a little after Christmas. Usually Christmas and Easter, those are the two big days of the year where churches can really go all out when it comes to people coming in. And I recently got this Instagram sponsored ad from a church called Discover Church just south of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And they were promoting Miraculous, a Broadway-like Christmas musical that was going to feature 200 cast members, all from the church, a full orchestra, and live animals. So after reading that, I had to check out what this was all about. And it got me thinking, because it kind of takes out two birds with one stone. Because what happens is with some of these larger churches, you can feel lost as a spectator, because with the pastor, he can almost seem more like a celebrity motivational speaker than anything. And with so many people, you may go into church one week, a second week, a third week, a fourth week, and you don't really connect with anybody because everyone's always new around you. How do you connect? At the same time, with Christmas and Easter, you have to go full out for some of these events for new people coming in. So what this is doing is it's bringing people together, because with these larger churches, their big resource is people. So you bring all these people together, you give them a bunch of costumes and outfits, and you have them perform in this musical that brings in people for the Christmas service. So it's such a unique twist on the church model that just had me very intrigued. So I attended the church show, we'll say, and I really enjoyed it. But at the same time, I had some strange observations after attending this. So I'll show one musical number and a couple sights inside, and I'll be back in a moment with some takeaways from this visit.
We go to the temple.
Anna says we must hurry.
My dear child, sometimes it's best not to hurry. Wait for your miracle. Wait for your miracle. Don't stop, just wait. You can fathom this all is better than you could imagine. Just wait, you can fathom this all is better than you could imagine.
Elizabeth, you came! Oh, we couldn't miss this. Let me see him. Oh, Mary, salvation has arrived. Today, we will dedicate our son to the Lord. Shout to the world, God is here with us, and is miraculous.
This may sound strange, but the first thought I had after attending this Miraculous church show was Walt Disney. Forget Mickey Mouse, forget Cinderella's castle, forget all the amusement parks. If Walt Disney had become an evangelist and he had gone the Billy Graham route, using his creativity and his flair to preach the word of God, I felt like this was as a Disney-fied church service as you could attend. And that's not a bad thing. I know with Disney over the past couple of years, they've had their issues. But when you think of Walt Disney, when he first started up the company, like he was trying to bring families together. He would have different type of shows in the movies with dancing and singing and music. Even in the movies, like there's enough nods and winks to parents so the parents can still get into it as well, so they're not bored. And with Miraculous, with this Christmas musical, there was singing, there was dancing, there was music. And the live animals especially, there was alpacas and baby goats and lambs. There was even one point where there was this sheep, and I was recording at the time, and the guy brings out the sheep on a little leash, and you could tell the sheep did not want to cooperate. And I felt bad for the guy, but then it made me wonder, maybe the sheep this is its chance. The spotlight is on him. He wants to go full happy feet, full happy hooves, I don't know. But it was just very, very interesting just to see. And then they had another scene where Mary and Joseph are kind of in this fight, and then you see an alpaca just walking in the background. It was so strange, but at the same time, that engaged a lot of the kids. And I think that was one of the most unusual observations I've had with this service, because I don't think many people would feel this way. But like I've gone to other churches with like denominations, like Catholics. Usually the families are together. I've gone to Latter-day Saint churches. They're all about families being together during sacrament meetings, and then they usually split up for their primary and then the adult classes. With Protestant churches, especially with the seeker-sensitive churches like this, we split up the families. So the parents will go inside for to hear this amazing speaking and these sermons from the celebrity pastor, while the kids are more geared towards age-specific type of Christian learning. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but it was just strange for me at one point when I was attending this church show where it's like, I don't remember the last time I've been in an auditorium of a megachurch like this where families were together. For the musical itself, wow. The performances, the production, the pageantry was all something that I had never seen before in a church before. Like if you were ever a kid and you went to your grandma's old church and they usually would have like a nativity type of scene, like this put that to shambles. It was completely free, no cost, and they had 6 performances over the course of 2 weekends. And I think the big thing for me when you first see it is just the full size and spectacle of it all, especially with the people, because everybody had some type of costume. So the majority of people were wearing that kind of Bethlehem type of traditional garb, but there was also people that were dressed as Pharisees and Roman soldiers. There was even one point where I was waiting at the door to get in, and one of the cast members walked out in his Roman soldier guard gear, and he was standing at a door. And it's like, even though like I'm not a small guy myself, but like there's part of me where I'm like, I don't want to walk towards that door with this guy guarding it. It was a strange feeling. But when I was watching the show, at the same time, like for the speaking and the singing parts, they must have had some type of professionals doing this, because there was only about 10 people that spoke. You had Mary, you had Joseph, you had Elizabeth, you also had the 3 wise men, and then there was an orphan and a little girl who actually did really amazing herself. And so they would do their songs and their skits, while the majority of the cast were all extras, and they would just be in the background. And I remember thinking to myself, gosh, I could dress up as a Roman soldier. I could do that. And like, to me, like the thing I kept thinking about was like, you could bring your family to this, to audition or be a part of this, And you could have a lot of fun family conversation as a result. So I really liked how this was bringing people together in such a unique way. At random intervals during the musical, the church's pastor would come up to say a few words. It could just be to welcome everyone or say a prayer or some mini sermons. But you could tell like the big thing that they were trying to do with this musical was to bring in members to get into their church for the first time. And I know like with these church visits for me, like it's kind of easy now for me. But when I first started doing this, and I think for you as well, if you go to a new church for the first time, it can be daunting. It can be challenging to walk through those doors for the first time, not knowing what to expect. And I think they realized that. And with the Christmas musical, it's an easy way to walk inside for the first time, not feel so much pressure, and then you can feel comfortable about coming a second time or a third time or a fourth time for the actual type of church services. One thing that they did here is they asked if you were a newcomer visiting for the first time to raise your hand, and an usher would give you one of these bright red envelopes for next steps. And I've gone to some churches, mega churches, where they give out these little handouts on steps to do to get connected with the church. Some that I've been to, the number one thing would be to pre-order the celebrity pastor's upcoming book. Others would be to tithe with money-back guarantees. But with the 4 steps that they had in this, I actually really liked it. Number 1, it was to read the Bible, and they gave you a few options in terms of how to make that easy. The second thing would be to pray. The third thing would be to join a church. And it wasn't necessarily a hard push for their church. It was to join a Bible-believing church. And if you were looking for a church, they'd love to have you. And then the fourth thing would be to grow in your faith. So I really liked how they did that. Everything that was in this packet, nothing too much, so they didn't overwhelm you with information. I think my biggest takeaway from this church visit was just that family atmosphere. And don't get me wrong, like there were a few things during the play that kind of irked me a little bit, because there's one part, they're trying to build drama with Mary and Joseph to kind of make them into this Disney love couple, where Joseph finds out, Mary is pregnant, and Mary kind of goes off on him. It's like, if you divorce me, I'm going to let everyone in the village know. And it kind of hit me where it's like, I don't think the two of them are married yet. And then a minute and a half later, Joseph is talking about, oh, we got a plan for a wedding. We got a plan for a baby. So that was a little weird to me. Maybe they can change that in the script for next year. But overall, there was one moment before the show started. I remember this little toddler, 2 or 3 years old, and the kid is just banging on this window, because behind the window was their daycare center, and they had a full slide. I think they had a ball pit. And the mom was kind of explaining to her child, the slide is closed today. We're going into church as a family today. She didn't say that in that exact wording. But for services like this, and especially from the seeker-sensitive Protestant church side of things, I really hope with a service like this, if there's more opportunities for these churches where you come into church as a family, where you're not splitting up. And I think, especially myself being a Protestant, we're so used to what we do for church. And when we walk through those doors, if we do walk through those doors as a family, it's just normal to have the kids go to the kids' church service and then the adults to go to the adult church service. What I liked about this with Miraculous is the families were together. And I think we need that more in churches nowadays. Hope you enjoyed this video on Miraculous for week 33. For next week, I already made the visit to Lone Star Cowboy Church. Going to show you how cowboys do church, so that'll be a fun one. But if you want to stay tuned, always like and subscribe to stay up to date. But until next time, hope you have a good one.